We are back online talking about fantasy. I'm Fauzi. I think you're above me now. You're supposed to say
Like,
Nick. You're supposed
are
to
you
say
talking
you're
about?
Nick.
Yeah, I am Nick, but I'm confused. Do you mean like I'm above
Yeah,
you
you're
on the
above me now.
recording or
Like I
different?
said to you before, we're in a different format because we're sharing a screen. We don't always share screen onto our recordings for our viewers here. But today, man, I recruited you to help me out a little bit, man. I'm in another fantasy league. I think you're aware of. It's a 14-man deep league. I'm in 11th place right now, as you can see. Our 14, not exactly where I want to be. 7 and 11's not any time to panic. I don't think after week two. But I must say, man, I thought I'd bring you on board. Obviously, you're not in this league, so it's not a you're not a rival here. I don't want to give away all my game plan, nor would you give away all your game plan to me here. But because it's a 14-man league, okay, and you asked just before actually, Yahoo or ESPN, you were saying is Yahoo a good platform or whatnot? I hate Yahoo. Yahoo is so terrible. I hate the app. I hate the layout. I hate how things work. It's not even on the app, but when you want to look at the stats, man, it has the players listed, and then you have to scroll on the stats, I think, but not on the player. And it's just really, really clunky. As far as I'm concerned, ESPN head and shoulders kills Yahoo in regards to user interface and how easy it is to use. Okay, that's the reality. In part, maybe Yahoo just gives you too much information, gives you all these tips and projections, and then the app every week, man. At the end of the week, it goes, oh, you won or won or lost last week. You're playing this team next, and then it gives you a nice little reminder, like your mother would. It says, "Oh, don't forget to set your lineups as well." you know, and uh, and so look, I'm not a big fan of the Yahoo app, but look, that's not the reason why I'm losing here. I think the reason why I'm losing here clearly is that my team is not exactly what I want it to be, and look, man, I think I'm also in a fairly active league. I think I mentioned to you one of the guys has made 23 moves or 24 moves. I think he made another move yesterday. And he's actually in 10th spot, which is a little bit ironic, So it's like one spot above me. He's made so many moves after 2 weeks, literally. I noticed that this league also allows, I think, 15 moves per week versus
Yeah,
ours, I
wow.
think, is seven. Okay. I
Yeah.
obviously didn't set, I'm not the commissioner of this league. And I also, there's a really weird one here. You probably don't have an answer to this. I feel like this is another Yahoo situation or setting that I'm not fully aware of. But I went and picked up in ESPN. You could drop a player, long as it's before the that day's games. You could drop a
Yeah.
player and pick them up and then you can basically roster them and play them. So basically, you can sit down at night, look who's maybe playing tomorrow. I want them on. I'll grab them. They're playing, so they put them into an active lineup. For Yahoo, something that I noticed, unless I'm tripping out here, sort of thing, is that I went and did that. I was looking. I think it was Bub Carrington. Okay, and I've added him now. He's on my team. Okay, because it's a deep league, remember? So and I added him. He had a game the next day. I added him, but it didn't allow me to actually play him until like a day later. And then a day later, he obviously didn't have a game that day. And I was like, what's going on here? So I don't know, is this a setting that's been turned on? Maybe someone, if there's a viewer that's watching that plays Yahoo too, maybe you tell me this, or maybe it's just a Yahoo situation, or maybe I'm just dumb. I don't know, man. But so I guess firstly, I don't know, man. If you want to look at my lineup right now, my roster right now, you'll probably see some familiar names, I guess, with our league too, because clearly like we spoke about, you have some go-to players that you do like to roll with fantasy. I do not have Sabonis. I would have loved Sabonis here. This was a snake draft, obviously, so didn't fall my way that I fell asleep at, if you remember, the first few rounds. So obviously TJ McConnell, Scottie Pippen Jr., Drew Holiday, Kevin Hurd. I picked up that since he's come back now, he is out the last game. LeBron, he's still balling. Can't complain too much about him. He's doing what you'd sort of expect at, age 40. So, um, Josh Hart, Vucevic, Naz Reid had a good game today. Sengun, there you go. I got Sengun. Maybe that's the part where I don't feel too, at least I can look at Sengun on this roster and I don't have to force a trade to have him on my roster in the other league. Maybe that doesn't work in your favor. Doncic obviously has been shooting woefully. He puts up stats like usual, but has been shooting woefully this season so far. Siakam, I just picked up Champagne from the Spurs obviously, and Carlton Carrington obviously, and I've got already my two. So there's two injury roster spots on here, Achua and Trey Murphy. Obviously I got them sitting in my injury spots right now. Um, I guess I don't know, man. You tell me. Like I said, I wanted to bring your help to come on board and give me some thoughts on how I can improve my team here. What do you want me to show you? What do you want to see here? Like that. I guess that's my roster to start with.
Well, first off, like, is this a category lead? So let's
Yep.
pretend that another viewer is like me and has never used Yahoo before. How are we ranking your week to week action here? So what is the play?
Okay. So week to week action is a category. Let me try and bring up a. So if we just bring up maybe today. So we're obviously 1 day into this week here. So I'm 8-1 right now. We're obviously 1 day in.
Okay.
But I'm playing the 13th team. So I would hope to try and get on top
You,
of this one, you
yeah.
know. I don't know, 6-3 might be nice this week to sort of
Cool.
bounce close to the 500. But yes, it is a category league. Right now, I'm just having a quick look. What am I losing? I'm just losing turnovers. Yeah, because I got Luca.
Correct. Yeah, which
I got
it's pretty hard to win everything and turnovers. Okay, cool. So it's very similar to ESPN for
Correct,
those that are
correct,
watching.
correct. Same
And
format.
then I guess the thing is, is there a way to pull up kind of the team analysis, right? So totals for the season so
Yep.
far.
So I was having a look at this just before
So league
starting. There's team
standings
stats here.
or team stats might be the play. Yeah.
And so, as you would expect for a team that's currently 11th, I'm in the middle of the pack of everything. Yeah. And
Yeah.
maybe part of the challenge here is because it's a 14 team league,
Yep.
there's not much left on the waiver wire. There's still players, still options, and it's also more competitive. There's 13 other owners now, especially ones that are active, that are clearly
Yeah.
watching the free agents at the moment and grabbing players that they think are performers at the moment, they're streamers at the moment. So it's yeah. So you can see here. I don't know. What do you want to look at? You'll try and go through.
Well, I mean, I'd skip the two percentages and turnovers. I think they're not worth pursuing. You look at
uh,
everything else. You look at the raw
three
stat stuff.
pointers
So
right in the middle. Of the pack there. Points are right in the middle. Rebounds. Oh, look at that. I'm third in rebounds.
there's quite a disparity for the guy
Oh,
that's at the
look,
top.
I'm first in assists. I didn't even realize that. Maybe I'm just not, basically just slow start. Okay, so now steals. I'm bottom three in steals,
Substantially lower. Yeah.
and I'm bottom three in blocks. So there you go. My
Okay.
stocks are killing me right now.
Stocks are killing you. So can you go pull up the, I guess, best team, right? Who's number one currently, and let's see what they've
Team
got.
standing.
That's
So
uh,
Oragans right now 14-3. That's not a bad start, I think. Let's have a look at what
well,
they
yeah,
got.
because that's 2 weeks that they've basically just lost, one category. Um,
They
that's
got
a that
Sohan. They got Sohan there. There you go.
they got Sohan as well, so I've made a good choice. That's a really interesting lineup
And they got
because I'm
Wemby.
looking
They got
through this
Wemby.
list. Wemby obviously carries hard. You can see that in the blocks today. Obviously Norman Powell and Jakob Podol were really, really solid as well. Miles McBride had one good game, and I don't think he's done much since, so I'm not sure what the attachment is there. And he's actually hurting them if you look, like 0 of 9 today. Darius Garland did have 39 today, but also like is probably back in all-star shape, so that's a pretty good pickup. Scoot feels like a massive liability. Just someone who has to look at Portland Trailblazers box scores all the time. He just looks terrible. So this team has room for improvement as well.
Oh, absolutely,
Um,
absolutely. Maybe it's
so
more
this might
interesting
be
to
an
see.
effect.
Maybe it's
Yeah,
more
maybe
interesting to
check
see
like second and third,
who they played. Maybe it's more interesting to see who they played. I
and
don't know.
that's some merit as well. Like,
How would you pull that out?
some teams start 5-0 because they don't play anyone.
Well,
You know,
maybe in theory now, as we're talking about it, man, maybe they played the bottom teams. I don't know how I'd pull this up though. There's a
uh,
um.
it's a good thing we haven't practiced this beforehand.
Well, I haven't played Yahoo. I played Yahoo maybe 5 years ago. I have
Yeah,
played Yahoo a long, long time, and then I think I hated it then as well. It was probably even worse then.
and you came back. Just
And
forgot
no,
and
but
came back.
these guys obviously set it up on Yahoo, and obviously, yeah, it was I was like,
Well,
fuck.
just go to standings real quick. Just pull it up. See what they got. They're currently playing Apex Predators, so we can at least
Oh,
look
here
at
we go.
that.
Schedule. There you go. Okay. So Oragans
So they
went.
played Hello
They
Bird.
played.
Oh no, they
They
played.
played Taffy and Ricky's Remarkable,
Yep. So then let's have a look.
and they're both
Okay.
they're 10th
Right.
and 14th. But that would make sense
Right.
too, I guess. If yeah, but that means they've lost 2 rounds now,
Of
obviously.
course, but that's where it might be too early to assess a true top team,
Maybe
right? So it's a dominating win, but
I'm not too fussed about maybe the teams around me. So right at the moment, it's more so how can I try to move my win total up a little bit because there's so many limited options. I swear. So look, let me
well,
have
let's
a
have a look at the waiver wire.
yeah,
That's where we
correct.
got to really go next.
Correct, right? So basically, I guess I look at this sort of thing, when I get a chance as well. And none of these names jump out to me. I obviously made the move above Carrington. I grabbed Champagne. I can't remember who I dropped. I think I dropped Grayson Allen, and I think someone else snapped him up, and it's fair enough. You know, he's obviously now coming off the bench. His role is totally different too. I did grab Herder off the bench, which I felt like a good move, but then now it seems like he might be sitting out every second back to back. Guess
I
what? I
I'd
dropped Ben
drop Herder.
Simmons.
Yeah.
I dropped Ben Simmons because he was injured.
Um, so you can sort, right? You can click on a category at
Yeah,
the top.
yeah,
So
yeah, I
can you
think so.
click on the minutes per game one? Because I always start with this when I'm looking at waiver wires. I'm trying to figure out who's getting a lot of minutes.
You like this one, right?
Um,
There, Caleb Martin,
so Caleb Martin. So there you go. So you know that
Torian
Caleb Martin's
Prince.
going to play 30 minutes,
Mm,
but are you content with those stats? To me, they don't seem terrible.
mm,
Um, then Davion Mitchell, you know how we talked about him at the start of the season saying, what's this guy doing?
mm.
In our league, you can kind of see it. He gives you 8 and 6 with a steal every game. So, but the 3 turnovers might hurt you. That's the other thing. So, Tim Hardaway Jr. is a very quiet, basically just 3-point maker. Like he's making almost 3 a game. Um, there's I'm looking through that list as well. OKC, we talked about OKC because everyone on OKC gets minutes.
Mm,
Everyone on OKC gets a steal or two,
mm,
right?
mm.
On really efficient shooting. Now you could take a Zachary Rasher flyer, especially now that Trae Young just went down. Perhaps there's something
But I
interesting
don't
that's
think he's
going to happen
available.
with him.
I don't
No,
think
he
he's
was
a.
literally on that list.
Oh, where? I didn't see.
Yeah,
Oh, he is. Yeah, he is.
yeah.
All right. Okay.
So
Mm.
for him, he's giving you 2 stocks,
Yeah.
right? And that's pretty good for a rookie. Um, he gives you a free, he gives you a steal, he gives you a block. He's not really turning over the ball very much, and it can only really go up. It's just the percentages hit that you'll take. But again, I never really prioritize percentages too much because I just think you can overwhelm people with raw stats.
So maybe on the flip side here, let's say I did go with Zachary
So
Rashad.
TJ McConnell, Kevin Herter, for example, I'm not sure if he has a role on Sacramento in terms of
What do you mean?
like
He's
no,
starting.
I think with the addition of DeMar DeRozan, that dynamic is different, and they actually have like the old school big three, and the big three does 75-80% of the scoring. So I don't know what you're getting at as Kevin Herter on every other game that is worth doing. You can pull up your stats and prove me wrong, because maybe I'm just speaking frivolously here, but nothing there screams.
What, 3 3-pointers a game? Reasonable percentages, except that 4 from 13, I guess.
Yep.
Double-digit scoring last 4 games. Couple of steals, couple of blocks actually. Look, he's not really known for that aspect of the game. I guess really, from my perspective, I think he's a starter. He'll get reasonable starter minutes there. He's clearly jumped straight above the rotation of like Keon Ellis. He still starts above Malik Monk. And he has, I don't know if you remember him when he was healthy. He missed a lot of last season, I think, due to injury. That he has the ability to pop off. He's like a Dante DiVincenzo. But he is
Again, yeah.
starting. But he is starting, yeah, as well. So whereas Dante is not starting in that sort of sense. Um,
All right. Well, then you move off him, and then you look at
but
TJ
the
McConnell.
choices are really TJ McConnell, Kevin Herter. I don't think anyone else is a drop right now. You could say Champagne, really. I just grabbed Bub Carrington today, 16, 8, and 7, exactly what I expected from him, plus
Yeah, you just didn't put
58%
him
from
on.
the field. Yeah, so that's why I grabbed him. I think he's starting right now too. So I think TJ McConnell's a real. You know what?
Well, his
I,
percentages
I
look
drop
good.
him. I
Those
drop him.
percentages look good.
Tyrese Halliburton goes out for injury, and his numbers literally go
Yeah.
up by
Well,
30%. Right?
this is actually where I'm preferring Yahoo a little bit. It does a nice job of blocking out like visually, like it goes bold when there's actually a stat, so you can see the zeros. So, outside of that one
You
game,
like
no,
that?
I just like
That annoys me actually.
outside of that one game where he didn't score, he pretty much always gives you 10 points, and he's always giving you about 5 assists, and he
and,
gives you a steal.
and his percentages are good. I like percentage
And
remember.
his
So
percentages are quite good. Yeah, you're
yeah.
right. So, all right, let's get off him then. So this is then
So then
where
then
I
then
guess
this
you pivot.
this is the other guy here, right? So so
Well,
he
the
this guy
percentages are great,
he's up and
and he only
down.
had one good game.
He's up and down, but
Good rebounds.
I feel like he's a player that's still coming into his role a little bit. I think the Spurs will be patient with him. Um, I don't know. Look, I guess again, maybe as we're looking at these 3 names, perhaps Champagne is the most logical candidate to drop if I was to add a player. But how much does this move the needle? I go to Rashard. How much does this move the needle? Yeah. So I don't know.
It
What you
doesn't.
yeah
So
yeah
I
this
guess the conversation then is looking at players who have enough name value that you can talk them into trades. So
Ugh.
instantly, I don't know how active your thing is, but I look at LeBron and I look at Pascal as two players who have enough behind their name that you could potentially fetch something. Now, LeBron has he can go off for the Sacramento game and give you 35 points and a triple double, basically. But LeBron's season stats, I was looking at LeBron's season stats because I was curious if I could put a pro bet for him. It The points are dipping.
Yep.
So he's still giving you the meme 25, 7, and 7, except it's not 25 anymore. It's actually just 20. And I think that's more realistic to who he's going to be. And Pascal Siakam, I mean, you made reference to it as well. He just doesn't give you a lot in that position. Like he's a starting
What do
power
you mean?
forward
You didn't want
who's
to trade him?
technically all
You
NBA.
clearly think he was worth holding
No,
on
I
to.
mean, I'm open to a trade but I also recognize that he gives you good scoring, good percentages, and a little bit of everything. But it's not like, how would I put it? Vucevic, right? He's clearly a 20 and 10 guy. So you know that you're going to get that
Look,
from him. What do you know you get from Pascal?
I could trade any player on this team. I have no affinity to him. But
Okay, well then if you're saying that too, Drew Holiday's been less
but
important for
who
what the
would I
Celtics
try
been
to
doing this
target
season.
that you think is worthwhile? Like in a hypothetical scenario. I think we spoke about. I think you spoke about. Oh man, I can't remember who we were trying to target a few weeks ago. And then I actually went and put that trade out, and then it was rejected. I was like, well, I tried. I think it had to do with LeBron. I think we spoke about LeBron trying to trade for somebody. Man, I can't remember right now. Maybe Sabonis. But obviously they didn't. They didn't. We're not going to take any bar of that. So. I'm not really too sure who I would target that would be a worthwhile trade package that I would get over the line right now. Like besides your, of course, I wouldn't mind like Jokic or Wemby or
Yeah,
SGA
so I
or
guess like you have to look at, I don't know, you got to like maybe you got to do weird trades. Like so for example, Pascal Siakam for Buddy Hield. Is that something that doesn't make you cringe? Because I know that you have a funny reaction to Buddy Hield, but are you aware that Buddy Hield's leading the league in threes and also averaging like 25 points a game? Like I know that that may or may not sustain, but right now
um.
his value is high and it's a gamble.
Let me have a quick look here. So where am I in threes? Okay, so I'm right in the middle of the pack of threes. There are clearly some
Mhm.
guys that are like two or three guys that sort of raced ahead, and then I'm sort of in this middle tier here. So your suggestion here in that is
Well,
potential
can you do me
scenario.
a favor, actually? Can you actually just look at Genius Shockers of PA? So he wasn't the first team, but he actually dominates the majority of categories. He's got more points than everyone, more rebounds, most top three assists, and more blocks and steals. So why is he getting that? And so he was first to jump onto Grady Dick. DeAndre Ayton's been a real stealthy. Okay, so that's a deceptive trade you could pull. Could you convince someone that Pascal Siakam for DeAndre Ayton? Because the name doesn't seem like it lines up. But DeAndre Ayton is consistently like almost 20 and 12, and percentages are ridiculous. But will never pop off for more than. And when I say 20 and 12, that's his ceiling, and then you can see the floor, which is just a 10 and 12,
But then
right?
here's the argument to be made here, like Siakam is probably more valuable than Aiden. I just hold Siakam.
But is he? Like when you actually look at like Pascal Siakam's stats, is he actually that valuable? Because Aiton has already given that guy, you know, over 100 points and almost 100 rebounds. Has Siakam done the same in two different categories like that?
So we got DeAndre
Yeah,
Ayton ranked 48 where,
can't fixate on the rankings though. I just think that can bog you down,
well, you have to pick. Okay, so they're very similar. I think they're
supposedly.
in the 40s right now. They're both 40s. Siakam slightly ahead. You're suggesting that Aiden might might still continue to have, might be able to jump Siakam maybe. Maybe Siakam will slide down this a little bit. I think that's a coin flip perhaps. I think this is the challenge that I've been sitting here, man. And I said, hey, man, come online. Let's help me out here. Let's talk through this. If anyone else helping, watching right now, feel free to drop some comments to make some suggestions. I'm sure there's other fantasy owners out there that are sort of sitting in situations where they're going, oh, I'd like to improve my team a bit, but I'm not sure which way to go. And then at the same time, it's like making a trade for just the sake of a trade to me doesn't really make any sense either. So then, um, and I think look, most of the guys that I've seen so far, they're either look, I guess I'm going to give them credit. They all seem to know a little bit about balling. A lot of them have sort of, played, I think, fantasy before because ESPN, sorry, Yahoo, sorry, can show you that they've played previous seasons, I think. Um,
Yep.
so, so I expect I'm playing guys that know how to play fantasy. I clearly playing guys that are active, watching the waiver wire every day, like I said. Um, so I was like, ugh. I'm not trying to pull the cotton wool over their eyes in that sense. It would be much harder to, I think. Look, maybe they'll take the bite for Siakam for Aiden. I don't even know if I would want to swing that move. I like the idea of Buddy Hield. Buddy Hield would give me more threes, but then who do I give up for Buddy Hield in that sense that would make sense for that guy to actually
Well,
make that move too?
that's where Siakam comes in, or you could try to sell someone on Drew Holiday for the stocks aspect. Because this is the thing, Drew Holiday is known for stocks, but if you actually pull up his season stats,
Mm,
they're a lot worse. It's Derek White is the best guard currently in Boston.
mm,
It's
mm.
not it's not Drew Holiday. Drew Holiday currently only has 2 steals and 2 blocks on the season. On the season. Isn't that crazy? Like a guy that we would talk about, and one of those blocks came today. So that's the thing. Drew Holiday to me is a name that you could coerce someone out of. So, for example, last season he averaged 0.8 and 0.9 blocks and steals, e.g., like basically one.
Mm.
This season he's averaging 0.1 and 0.3. All right. Same amount of points. He's shooting better from three. So if there's a 3 point percentage aspect that you worry about, you could talk about that. But the field goal percentage is exactly the same. Turns it over the exact same. Nothing's really different. And his rebounds are down, his assists are down, and his stocks are down. So he's having a down year. But again, he could be good, right? Like, but then we can both agree that Boston's so stacked that he may not need to be good. And his role is not to be good now, it's to be good in the playoffs. So it's similar to Alex Caruso. It's why I gave up on Alex Caruso because his box score wasn't doing anything. I'm not going to disregard what he does on a court. Like he's huge, but he's not going to give you anything in the box score. And I reckon Drew Holiday is someone you could look at too. It's
Yeah.
a 16-point scorer who could go off in defensive categories. I think you could trick someone.
I like that word. If we could trick someone here, then it would definitely go in my favor, right? Look, hey, look, I like the suggestions, man. I guess I'll go away and think about it. I think you're absolutely right. We probably identified stocks could be an area where I could definitely move up a little bit here. So if I can try and find that Derek Lively sort of situation, right? Obviously, he was one guy that you were really high on stocks, I think, right? And even I'm just trying to think who else is high on stocks right now that is sort
Well,
of not a
can we
well-known player.
can we go back to the player list because maybe let's sort our players by the stocks. So first go to steals. Are these available players or rostered players?
These are all players, so all available players filter.
That's a nice little filter. Yeah, so Casey Wallace and Alex Caruso both play for OKC, and that's kind of what I was referencing before.
Mm,
But the problem is, you can see Alex Caruso gives you very little elsewhere, and Casey Wallace also isn't probably going to give you too much either. But he does get 25 minutes a game. Taylor Hendricks is gone for the season, unfortunately. Kyle Lowry is someone who I don't know, maybe
I
gets a
did
run.
I did pick up Jordan Isaac for a couple of games. Sorry,
Jonathan,
Jonathan Isaac, right? But then he's sort of in
nah,
and out of the lineup all the time, man. He does give you a little bit of these peripheral stats, but
he's
he's
got
a
he's
little
got bad knees, man. Don't get me started.
um
So Torian Prince for Milwaukee. So like you've probably seen the meme going around. He's getting 30 minutes. He's playing as much as Giannis and Dame, right? And the thing is that when you get to play that much, you inadvertently get stuff. So he's just two down.
mm,
That's Ty Jerome.
so I'm just having a quick look here. So he's steals. Cool. I'm in the wrong row.
Yeah,
Torian Prince.
you're literally two down.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
there
right.
we go.
Yeah.
This is great. Um, so because he's getting so many minutes, he's he's getting stats. I don't know how reliable they are, and he's had a down game today because he didn't play much. But other than that, it's
Well,
there.
you
Otherwise,
can
sort by
you
blocks.
can see the conundrum right now. I'm clearly looking at steals, and if we quickly jump at blocks here, um,
Oh, Keontae George. Oh, sorry, that's not Keontae George. It's someone else.
it's
I don't even know anymore.
Keyshawn
Kaishawn,
George.
Kaishawn.
Uh,
That's a nice recent performance.
yeah, up and down there, right? That's the thing, right? You can see he's
Well, yeah, but you look at the blocks. Like sometimes, don't worry about sometimes one game. Worry about the week, right? So technically, in about a week, he had 8 blocks. That's not bad.
There's no one here that jumps out in the free agency wire. So look, I think probably your my biggest takeaway from this chat here is that stocks is probably a good area to focus on to try to improve a little bit, even if it's middle of the pack. I think that would make me slightly start to shift
That's where
me.
you want to
Yeah,
sit. Yeah.
yeah. So look, I guess right now middle 11th, can I get to say top six in say the next 2 to 3 weeks? I think that would be the goal. Okay, and then let's see how far I am from the top four, what do I need to do at that point. So stocks maybe is a good moving point, but I think, and you're probably seeing this yourself too, that maybe what this is going to require is that trade. Yeah, I don't think there's been any trades pulled off right now in this league so far. Yeah, so is a trade that maybe using a more prominent name for another player, maybe a little bit of trickery, maybe a little bit of luck, might come into play here that for me to make the needle move a little bit here. Like obviously Buddy Hield would help threes, but I don't necessarily need help in threes. I could strengthen that. Um, so other players out there like Derek Lively or um, someone else that really sort of gives you a bit of both worlds, maybe in that sort of area that I'm trying to target. So more research, man, more research, right?
It looks stressful. I don't. Yeah, I do like the double injury slot though. It can have two effects, right? Because obviously the waiver wire doesn't have as many people in it because people can stash. But I don't know. I've had some things. But I guess the one comment I wanted to make, I'm currently playing Wembanyama this week, and Wembanyama alone had just as many blocks as my team did, basically, right? Sometimes you have to understand that your opponent is just going to dominate a category and you don't overreact to it. So for me, I knew I needed to strengthen blocks long term, but I can't go out and panic this week because it's a lost category and I need to pursue other categories.